Dan Delmar in for Elias. He is back on Monday, and fortunate to have a genuine Scotsman producing the program today, David Story. And David, Loch Ness, the monster. You suggested this topic. I'm not stereotyping the Scottish people here. I just want to be clear. But you wanted to talk about this today because it is a thing, right? I mean, it is a driver of tourism in Loch Ness. Is it something that the locals believe in, or is there an awareness that it's good for tourism?
Well, first, Dan, I should preface that I don't sound very Scottish. I grew up there, was born there, grew up there. My family still lives there. I've lived in the United States most of my adult life. I've lived in Canada for the last 6 years. So when Alan comes on the line, you're going to hear from a real Scotsman. My
excellent.
accent is long gone. But, it's a great story, and believe in it or don't believe in it, it is a tourism driver. It's a great story. There are folks like Alan that do believe there is something in the loch. The loch is very deep. It's very long. There's caves under the water. Alan will tell you all this, but I think it's just, from my perspective, I think it's a great story. It drives tourism. And every time I have friends over home that come from Canada or the United States, the first thing they want to do is head to Loch Ness and see the castle and take a boat down and maybe catch a sighting of Nessie. But I think probably, people who see Nessie may have had one or two scotches in the local bar, one or two whiskeys. But I'll let Alan, he is probably going to disagree completely with me on that, but, leave it to the expert.
Yeah, let's go to Alan McKenna in Edinburgh. He's the founder of Loch Ness Exploration. Alan, hello.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Well, thanks for joining us. First question, David tells me the water levels are a bit lower than usual. Are there more sightings?
It depends, really. He's not wrong. I wasn't going to disagree with him. Most of what he said was correct there. I know a couple of summers ago when we did have that really high weather in Scotland, the loch, I think, was at the all-time low, which was quite worrying, to be honest. But it's Scotland, after one heavy rainstorm, the water levels go right back up again. And that's washed in through the highlands and through the rivers down into the loch itself.
So you are a believer. So the Loch Ness Monster creature, is that? I'm not sure if that's what term is politically correct, but is it real?
It's okay. I mean, I'm quite honest in this question and answer to it. I don't know what the Loch Ness Monster is. I don't know what's down there. But it's enough to keep me interested. I do believe there's something there, but I don't know what. I don't think we're dealing with, a plesiosaur or a reptile as such. I think it's something that has possibly always been there. And I don't know if you know the geology of the Great Glen. There are two ways in, it's through the River Ness and through the Caledonian Canal. The Caledonian Canal is a lot deeper, but a lot smaller. And the River Ness, unfortunately, at certain parts, is maybe only a foot deep. So if eyewitnesses are seeing something, 20 to 30 foot long, there's no way it would go unnoticed if it's coming through the River Ness and then eventually in Loch Ness. So I think what you'll see is during kind of salmon season and trout season, you'll see quite a spike in sightings, and these tend to be near river mouths, and that's always been quite interesting to me.
So you're joining the largest search for Nessie since the 1970s. What do you hope to find? And do you hope to find a creature, multiple creatures, or are you just going in with an open mind?
I think open mind's the key, and that's why we invite not only believers but skeptics too. I personally would like to get rid of those two labels and just branch everyone under, as a Loch Ness enthusiast, because we can all work together quite comfortably and with respect in that matter. It is going to be a big search. It's going to be the largest big search, the surface search since the 1972. The last biggest search was actually conducted by Adrian Shine and the Loch Ness Project when they took 20 vessels out into the loch and did a sonar sweep. Now, they did make contact with certain objects. I think some were labelled as debris, but there was a few that remained, they didn't understand them at the moment. I've seen one of the documentaries, I'm sure, that there's one that was recorded as it was smaller than a whale but bigger than a shark. But if there is something there can't be just one. I mean, that's you're kind of talking to Conor McLeod here from Highlander. Is it a mortal or what? You know what I mean? there has to be more than one, and that would be the goal. We're looking for breaks in surface, and that's what we're going for. But we're also wanting to tell people and our volunteers what's not a sighting. So it's to remain vigilant on the loch, because that body of water can play so many tricks on your eyes and your mind. It is unbelievable. And if you don't really know the area, and if you see a floating log in the middle of the water going against the tide, that could easily be seen as, a sighting, a Loch Ness monster. But again, it's about educating people about that and carrying on that torch and the legacy that people have came before us. It's really important, I think.
Well, we're going to watch closely, Alan McKenna, and we'll have to catch up with you again to see what you found. Alan McKenna is the founder of Loch Ness Exploration, joining us from Edinburgh. Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, guys. Have a nice one. Cheers.
Take care.